Hey, it's Jason with Denwerks. Got something pretty cool today. 1964 Buick Electra 225. Really neat car. Stanley kind of likes it. We'll take him for a little ride in it later. But you know, I've actually owned a couple of these cars, but I've never a 64. I've had a couple earlier models and stuff, and they're just a really nice cruiser. You know, this one here has a 401 in it. When you look at the air cleaner, it'll say 445, which is the torque. That's the way they were advertising them back in the day. It says 445. Wildcat. This thing has I think they're about 325 horse. So you know, when you need to get somewhere fast, and you know, definitely has some power. So we'll walk around it here a little bit. It's really clean car, looks great. It's had some interior work, and it has been repainted, probably, I'm guessing, 15 years ago or so. And they did a pretty nice job overall, but nice car. So we'll just walk around the front and show you different things about it in general. You can see here, the headlights are working. They turn the marker lights on real fast. Got the marker lights, headlights. Then we got bright lights. Then we got our blinkers. Got blinkers. Oh, there we go. We got left, which is actually right. And then we got the right side. There we go, which is actually the left. I'm standing the wrong way. Anyways, we'll walk around here and show you some different stuff about the chrome and different things. One thing I'll just point real fast here is it does have two original T3 headlights. This is the inboard bright light, and then the original light here on the outboard, just a regular headlight, is the T3. You'll see the original ones. I'm going to put these Stanley stacks down. You wonder how I get them out here. We'll probably attack that bag in a minute, but anyways, I wanted to point out different things. You can see here there's some little scrapes and little scratches and general stuff on the chrome. It's not perfect by any means, but it does look good. You'll see some little tiny, you know, hazy kind of look to it just from the age. On the front of the bumper too, you can see some scratches down here, but if you look down low, it's pushed up right there, a little bit right there, and on the other side too. Obviously, when you're standing here looking at it, you know, you really wouldn't notice that too much, but I wanted to point that out. We'll also put it up on my lift, and you can get a better look as well. You know, you'll look around at the paint. It's not perfect. You're going to see little chips, little kind of chips, little scratches. Some stuff has been touched up, some hasn't, but overall, it looks nice in general. You'll see in some areas where they, you know, they didn't take all the chrome off when they repainted it, so there is a little bit on some edges here and there on the car. You can just see just a couple little spots. And I won't point out every little spot, but if I kind of point at something, you know, I'm just talking about a little chip or something like that. You can see the side. Turn your blinkers on real fast, or your parking lights. You can see your parking light works on the side there, and you can see a little chip right here. You know, around the wheel wells and everything look good. And I haven't seen any rust on this car. It's actually really solid, especially for a convertible. You can see right here where they taped off around the little inlets there. And I think the Electra had 4 of these. The other models had 2, and I think just base model probably didn't have any. See here, the chrome and the rockers all look pretty good. You don't see any bubbles or anything there. You can see here, Stanley found the whole bag of snacks. Let him play with that for a minute. A couple little chips on the door edge, but again, nothing that really stands out too much. Right here you can see right underneath the edge, the paint's flaked off just a little bit below that piece of chrome. A ding right here on the skirt, another one right there, but overall looks good. I've had the skirts off obviously when we were doing brakes and stuff, and there's no rust. A lot of times they'll get rusty up in there, but it looks really good. All the emblems and everything are on the car, but overall looks good. If you look down the side, you know, pretty straight. You know, I haven't seen any major wobbles or anything like that, and you know, nothing that really stands out really bad. You know, a little bit of waves, you know, but nothing major. I mean, it looks good. All the body lines, you know, you'll see this real subtle body line. It's actually nice and straight, and it fades in. Same with this one. So looks pretty nice. What we'll do is we'll flip it around so you can take a look at the other side. You just note out here, you can see there was probably a little bit of filler work in this area along the edge, but you can see that right there. But you know, the car seems pretty solid, and I've been all over it. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of filler or anything on the car, but definitely it's going to have some in some spots, but you know, very tinny sounding. So you know, solid car. We'll flip it around so you can take a look. Here we are. We just wanted to turn it around, like I said, just so you can see the other side in the sun. We'll start here in the back real fast. We'll just check out the lights. You can see the tail lights work. You can see the blinker, both sides. Then we got brake lights, then take your brake lights off. And it's hard to see just the way the lighting is, but the tail lights do work. It's just, you can kind of see them in there. And I'll point out real quick, you can look right here, the license plate light is working. And the reverse lights, you got to get it in the right spot, but usually they work pretty good. Oh, yep, there we go. See, they work, so that's nice. So we'll go ahead and walk around, just show you some different things. Go ahead and rev it up a little bit. You know, it actually sounds nice. It's just a nice cruiser, but you know, when you throttle a little bit, it does have a nice little rumble to it. You know, I like all the chrome on the car. Electra 225. You know, the bumper is original. It's actually in pretty nice condition. You're going to see some little scratches and little things, you know, on it in general, and you're going to see there's a scrape right there at the bottom, and you'll see that little bit of checking and stuff that I've talked about, but nothing really, you know, major, you know, for an original bumper. You could re-chrome it if you wanted, but I don't think I would actually. I think I would just leave it, because it does look nice, and it, you know, the way the car is and in general, you know, it's a car you can take out right now and just enjoy. You'll see right here a little run in the paint. That could probably be wet sanded and buffed pretty easy. You know, if you look at the tail lights, a little bit, not too hazy, but you can see they have a little bit of age, but not real bad. You can see right in here, probably a little seam sealer, maybe a little filler that they didn't sand out all the way. And I wouldn't doubt sometimes that was from the factory on these old cars. You know, but I think that probably, there was probably a little skim coat and they just didn't get the edge of it. You know, probably, I would imagine this was painted once, but it could have been painted twice. If you look right here, this is an area they should have sanded just a little bit better and finished off. So right around the edge. And you can see this had a rubber gasket around it when it was new. So if you want to take the taillights out and find a rubber gasket, I don't even actually know if you could get a reproduction of that, but it looks like something pretty simple. Again, you're going to see somewhere the paint, you know, where they didn't get the paint off and they taped it off there along the chrome. So, you know, overall, looks pretty good. Nice thing about the trunk lid, it's not rusty. You know, there's no bubbles or anything like that. It's a really solid car. You know, again, if you look down the side here, again, nice and straight. You know, small waves, but that's a lot of panel. But the nice thing when you're looking at this stuff is this subtle body line down the side of the quarter panel, that it flattens out in the door. It looks good. And this one here is real nice going down the side. You know, no rust around the wheel lips or anything like that. I showed you on the other side it didn't have any, and I took the skirts off too, and there's not. But up on the lift is really good signs of this car, because it's a solid car for sure. So definitely convertibles, you definitely want to look at the floors, you know, look at the frame, the trunk, and this car is nice. You can see a few little chips right here that could be touched up pretty easy. But if you look here across the bottom of the rocker, very, very important. Again, no rust. It looks nice and clean. This is another spot where they taped that off there, and they could have cleaned that up a little better. You know, ideally they should have took the chrome off, but you know, probably when it was painted, you know, the values weren't really, really high on these, so they just wanted to make it look nicer. And you know, you always got to judge exactly what you want to do, you know, expense and stuff. So, but still a nice car. Little chip right there. I wanted to show you that the little ding right here, I wanted to show you the antenna actually does work in the radio. So there's a little button in the dash there, you can see there. Turn the radio up just a little bit so you can see the antenna is up right now. Make the antenna go up more. There, you can see it raising. It's actually really long. I go ahead and put it down. And I don't know if these antennas actually go all the way to the bottom or not. You can see here it stops here, but this is maybe where it actually stops. I don't think these ones went all the way in. And just one last look at the front end. You know, nice car. You know, I wouldn't mind taking Mrs. Denwerks out in this, throw Stanley in the back, maybe. Hey, just wanted to show you the top, you know, up on the car. You can see here the front of the top, the bulkhead and stuff looks good. It's not any bubbles or anything like that. Sometimes you'll see, you know, on the underneath here, the metal and stuff, they'll get rusty. You can see here, no bubbles or anything. Older top, I'm going to say probably 20 years. It's just a guess. I don't believe it's probably original because it looks too good, but you'll see some. You can see some little discoloration just from the bows here on the top, just from rubbing. But I haven't seen any rub throughs on the top or anything like that. It actually looks really, really good. You can see here's just some, well, it just got dirty here a little bit. The top, I showed it in the pictures, and it looked like there was something wrong, but when there's not, that just, I'll use a little spit. So anyways, that would clean up real good. So we had the top down when we took the photos and then flipped it up, so should have cleaned that off a little better. You can see around here, we'll hop around to the other side. You know, again, I haven't seen any wear spots or anything like that, so it's actually a really good top. A couple light right here, little light rubs on it, but nothing major. Look around here, this is all attached. Sometimes these come off and this one's all secure. so no holes or anything. So nice top. I'll go ahead and show you some more. Hey, here we are. We're going to take a look at the interior. You know, the interior actually is really nice on this car and feels great driving and stuff. I just wanted to show you too, you know, the body lines are really nice and the door shut super, and you know, no big rattles or anything like that, and it's not hard to shut or anything like that. So, you know, in good shape. If you look at the seats, obviously been recovered at some point, but they did a really nice job on all the material and, you know, the cushion and everything. So really nice. You can see it's got seat belts front and back. It's an aftermarket seat belt. I think in 63 or 64, can't remember if seat belts were an option. I think 63 was an option, maybe 64. So I don't know if this car originally had them in there, but obviously it has them in there now, so that's great. If we look at the dash, it's got a padded dash. It's metal up there and then padded right here. That's actually in really good shape. The knee kick area is good too, no cracks or anything like that. The steering wheel is very nice, except a little crack right here. And then one starting right there, a little hairline, one right there. But if you look back at that wheel, super nice. Most of all the gauges and stuff work. You can see they have actually idiot lights, no tack or anything like that. But I love the way the dash is laid out on this. You'll notice too, the little light. You notice the little lights, the courtesy lights are working as well back here. I had a little camera malfunction just a minute ago, so that's why I had to splice that. It was turning upside down. You can see the chrome up here is in good shape as well. Sun visors look good as well. You can see the carpet, it's new. I wouldn't say brand new. I mean, it was put in probably 15 years ago when they painted it. You can see could use a new brake pedal. I looked for one of those on eBay and I couldn't find one, but someone probably has one of those. And I love the vintage floor mats. This came with this car, but I'm always looking for these things. You know, the floor mats at the stores now, auto parts stores, just don't look right. You can see the inside the door jamb. You know, they painted the jambs. You can see they taped around things, but the VIN number is there, and it does match the title. You know, the rubber here, you can see it's deteriorated a little bit. You know, this door jamb looks in good shape. You know, I haven't seen any accidents or anything like that. If you look here on the end of the door, and it looks in order. And this gasket here is ripped right there on the edge. Window felts look pretty good. A little crack right there, but the rest of it looks nice. We'll go ahead and hop around the other side and take a look. Okay, here we are on the passenger side. I just wanted to show you too, you know, the doors shut real good. I'll be a little quicker on this side. I'm just showing you basically the same things, but just getting a different perspective. You can see the door panel looks good. You can see here there was originally some other screws right here, so I don't know why they chose to put them in different spots, but there was probably, you know, something that with the bottom of the door panel itself, just the age, and so they reattached them in those spots. You can see right here the edge is torn on the edge there of the door panel. You know, but overall, the door panel overall looks really good. Rubber gasket. It is a little brittle, but it's there. You can see a little rip right there. Not trying to beat the car up or anything like that, but I mean, it is a vintage car. I mean, it's old, and just good to see the different things about it, and you know, its journey that it's traveled. So the nice thing is this car is actually in really remarkable shape for its age. You can see here there's a little tiny tape line on the bottom of the door. This quarter panel has had some work. You know, when I look inside the trunk, everything looks good, but the only difference is you'll see here, and you'll see this on a lot of cars in general that's had some work, and they probably used, I don't think the quarter panel was replaced that I know of, but usually there's a seam right here where it overlaps, and then it's spot welded. You can see this has all been smoothed out down the edge. So I don't see any damage here or anything like that, but sometimes you'll see people do that just to make it look nice and smooth, but they didn't do that on the other side. So I'm not 100%. I mean, if you hear it, you know, it doesn't sound Bondoy or anything like that. So everything sounds good. I think they just, when they probably put a skim coat on it or something like that, they probably filled this area and then sanded it off. So I just wanted to make note of that. So anyways, we'll take a look at the back seat again from this view. You know, it looks good. Behind the seats also look good as well. Window felts on the back here are in nice shape, and I'll just finish off with this one here. You know, that window felt looks good in here. So we'll go ahead and take a look underneath the hood. There's a little lever right here. You can see. You know, the motor compartment's in nice condition. It's a 401. You can see here it says Wildcat 445, and Buick at that time was, you know, trying to, obviously it makes it look like a bigger motor, but it still is a 401, but 445 was the actual torque rating. And you know, this engine is rated at 325 horse, so it does get up and go. We did do a minor detail to it. We put new valve cover gaskets on it. They were pretty leaky, and so we pressure washed the engine, cleaned it really good, and it took a while. And we put gaskets. We got pictures, I believe, of the valve covers off, so you can see the rockers. Engine was nice and clean inside, but you know, overall looks good. We did a tune-up on it. We did put new brakes all the way around it, new master cylinder, new wheel cylinders. Actually, the brake shoes were good on it. It was just all the you know, the hydraulic system and stuff like that. So we flushed the system and everything. You can see here it has a new alternator on it. That was actually, I believe that was on there when I got it. We did a lot of different things to it, but I think that was already on it. You can see here the original bottle is in here. Nothing's hooked up to it or anything like that, but the original bottle is there. Nice thing when I'm looking in here though, not just so much the cosmetics, I'm looking to see if there's any damage, and there's nothing inside here. The core support, inner aprons all look very, very nice. You can see all the original spot welds and everything are all there. I do know that the horn is not working and the cigarette lighter aren't working currently, and I think they're on the same system, but I think that has to do with this little relay there, because the fuse looked good. So we'll go ahead and start it up so you can hear it run. You know, it sounds nice. You know, and I wanted to detail the motor, obviously, so it looked nice, but you can also see where leaks are and stuff like that. But I do that to my own cars, but I didn't want to give the impression that it was rebuilt or anything like that. But it does run good and sounds good. You can see it's got power steering, so that's all hooked up. Go ahead and rev it up a little bit. Another time. You know, sounds good. Has a lot of torque. Go ahead and turn your wipers on. You can see the wipers are working. And then I also wanted to point out here that is power brakes. And then the little tag up here, and we have a picture of it. You can see the cal tag the original cowl tag, but we'll take a picture there so you can see and decode it and things like that. But overall, nice looking engine compartment, and it's all ordered. Okay, we're going to take a look underneath the trunk here. I like this, that the key is hidden. I wish they'd do that on new cars today, but honestly, you don't even have to hardly even use a key. Trunk is actually pretty nice, you know, but all this is glued down, you know, all the way around, so I didn't want to rip it up. But I haven't found a reason to actually take that out of there. When you look underneath the car, everything looks solid. You know, the frame, everything looks really good. This is the original cardboard, which is actually nice to see. You can see the original jack. You can see the spare tire here. You know, when we're looking in here too as well, we're looking for any damage. You know, and I haven't seen anything around the, you know, back here in the tail lights. They look in good condition. You know, it hasn't been butted in the back. You remember I was showing you earlier that along the edge right there, it wasn't finished off, but if you look inside and feel in there, it actually feels pretty good. So it could use a new rubber gasket around the trunk lid. You can see here some of the paint is cracked out right here, but it's solid, and it's just where they didn't adhere the paint real good there. So if you look around the edge here, same thing on this side. So this is actually pretty easy stuff to fix. If you had, you know, over the winter, you could tape this off and kind of, you know, get an airbrush or something like that, sand all this area and don't disturb the outside, but you could actually clean that up fairly easy. If you look underneath here, you can see no rust bubbles below the trunk. There's just a little dirt there, but really solid. So on the rest of the trunk lid looks good. So overall, I mean, it's a nice storage compartment. You could put someone back here if you wanted to. Not making any suggestions, but you could. Hey, just wanted to start it up here so you can see just some certain things about it before I started. If you can see here, you see the oil pressure and amp light turn on. The gas gauge, when we drive it, it has a full tank of gas in it now, but it actually reads half. And I learned that from when I first picked it up, that I didn't think it had any gas in it, and so I filled it, but I only was able to put, I don't know, like 25 bucks, and then only went up halfway, but it was actually full. So the gas gauge isn't reading right, clock isn't working. We'll go ahead and start it. I've already had it running, but it actually starts pretty easy. This one here is pretty cool too. There's this little yellow buzzer there, so when the speed gets up past that, it warns you and buzzes at you, so that's pretty cool. Odometer reads 51,393. Trip meter works. You know, I don't have any documentation to prove that the miles is that, and so no claims on that. It's probably at least rolled over one time. I think probably only one time. I mean, you never know, though. It's, you know, an older vehicle, but you know, it doesn't feel like its suspension feels good and stuff. So the horn I mentioned when I have the hood open is, I think there's a relay that's out. You can see here, we already showed you the radio. It does work. You can see the antenna. I was showing that earlier. You can see that's working. I love the laugh, actually. The heater, this temp thing is a little hard to push, so I think it's bound just a little bit. You can see the air, the defrost in the rear. I believe that the fan probably isn't working. We'd have to look at that. I know the lighter's not working, but I don't see anywhere on this car, but I'm pretty good with cars. And I'd have to look at an owner's manual or something like that. This is an accessory courtesy light works, but the fan's not turning on. So I would imagine when you hit that, the air, that's what would make it work. So anyways, just wanted to show you a few things before we take off down the road. So we'll cruise it around here. You can see it's a 2-speed transmission, drive and low, and we'll just cruise around for a few minutes and tell you my experience behind the wheel. You can see here we actually moved. So we moved out to an old farm. I don't have any grapes growing in my place, but there's a place right across the street. There you can see them. So it's actually really nice living out here in general. So I drive really slow on the gravel, so fortunately it's only 100 yards. So you can see right away it's really quiet sounding, nice and smooth. You know, it's just a smooth driving car. There's nothing like riding in a convertible. We'll get it up to 50 miles an hour here, and we'll see if that little buzzer goes off. You hear it? And then I'm going to let off below it. Now it's shut off. So, you know, it's a nice driving car, very, very smooth. And when I first drove it for the first time, I drove nice. It needed a little bit of a tune-up, and it definitely needed shocks, so the shocks really helped it. I'm going to lay on the brakes here in a minute and just show you how straight the car stops. You can see here, go straight. You know, it stops real nice and straight. So we'll cruise around here a little bit more, and I'll show you some more stuff in a little bit. Hey, here we are. Stanley. Ah, dang it. Actually. Sam. Hey, here we are. We're going to take a look underneath the Buick. You're still going to see all the still photos and stuff that we do, you know, because those are important. But, you know, the reason for doing a video underneath now, which we've been doing for a while, but new folks checking out our auctions, it's just good because I can point out different things, look at different things, you know, poke on stuff and, you know, tap and stuff, and just talk a little bit more about it in general. So we'll just start from the front to the back. For a convertible, this thing is really solid. I haven't seen any major issues or anything like that. Especially I haven't seen any floor replacement or anything. The frame looks in really good shape. You know, we did do a detail on the motor. You know, it's not rebuilt or anything, but it runs really good. But we did repaint the motor. We did put new valve cover gaskets on it and stuff, but we didn't pull the engine or anything out like that, so I don't want anyone to, you know, think we pulled it out and rebuilt it and did all that kind of stuff. So we just detailed it just like I did on my normal cars and cleaned it up and everything. But I haven't seen any oil leaks or anything like that. Everything seems to be pretty dry. We did do a transmission service on it, new filter and gasket. And if you see on some of my stuff, I just put a little date on there. It's just when we did it. But on the transmission itself, you know, it's still, you know, a little dirty up there just from old, you know, just old crud and where it was leaking before. But we did clean a lot of the engine off, but we didn't clean the transmission. So if someone had a lift outside or something like that and you wanted to pressure wash that off, you could. But it did have some dampness when I got it. That was one of the reasons we changed the gasket and filter. And a lot of this is just residue on it from when we did that. You can see here, we did hit all the Zerk fittings and stuff. Ball joints all look pretty good. They were pretty coated, you know, caked on stuff, so we knocked a lot of that off. And, you know, the boots, actually, dust covers look good. We did put new brake lines, and we put new wheel cylinders all the way around, and brakes all look really good, and it stops nice. And we did also, you can see here, we put new shocks in it as well, all the way around. So, you know, overall, mechanically, it's in great shape. You can see here the core support isn't rusty. Before I got it, they actually put, they had it undercoated a number of years ago. So if you look up in here, you can see undercoating and stuff on it where they coated it. What's really nice though is you can see it hasn't had any damage, hasn't been hit in the front end or anything like that. You'll see here on the bumper, you know, a couple little, you know, little kinks and stuff at the very bottom of it. You can see this has been pushed up a little bit. But if you look up inside this wheel well, again, actually really clean and looks nice. You know, a lot of cars can look pretty on the outside, but it's when you crawl underneath, you know, you start looking at structure. You know, they're always going to be dirty underneath, but you start looking at structure is what's important. You can see the rocker looks in really nice condition overall. I haven't seen any weird repairs or anything like that. You know, the pinch weld looks good. You know, the inner rocker, you know, again, still, I haven't seen any issues in here. You see here, it looks nice. You can see the drain, you know, for a convertible, very good. You look at the floors. This is why I like to do a video, because you can actually tap on stuff. Sometimes I'll get the screwdriver out, but no reason to do it on this one here. So everything looks nice. I can see some little, I don't know what these little spots here, these are drill holes. For some reason I can see one over here. So I don't know what those were. I mean, it could be maybe drilled a hole or something like that. Maybe the floors used to get wet or something. I'm not 100% for sure. Some people will do that for a little drain, but I don't see any signs of any repairs or anything, or any issues. You can see here a little dent on the back of the floor there. But again, the floors look great. You know, the pinch weld looks really good. One thing they didn't do on this side, and a lot of body shops don't catch this. You can see right here, there was some filler here. They just didn't sand the edge and make it look real nice. And of course, if you're doing the body work and they don't have the car up on the lift, they don't notice things like that. So that's one of the imperfections I see there, and on the bottom of the door. You know, again, I don't think they, you know, just paid attention. They didn't see it when it was on the ground. You never see that on the ground at all. So it's just, you know, they could have finished that off a little better. But I just wanted to point it out. You know, the bottom of the rockers look good. I mean, the behind the wheel here looks good. Original pinch welds and everything on it. We'll go back up here. You know, the frame, X-frame, looks really nice. Does have dual exhaust. The mufflers do have a couple, you're probably going to want to get a new pipe. There's a couple little spots I can't see. I think it leaks right out this spot. There's two spots where it leaks out right here. Sometimes you'll see a little condensation there when it's cold, and it'll drip from there. And I would probably, if it was me, maybe replace these pipes, put new mufflers and replace the pipes, you know, back on it eventually. But it doesn't make any leaking noise or anything like that. I just noticed it. You can see here, this doesn't mean I put a new rear end in. It means I drained the fluid out and put new fluid in. That's when I checked it. And I did put a new brake line up here, and we did put new wheel cylinders in the back here. You can see the kind of new looking right there. So we put new wheel cylinders. So it had new master too, but new shocks. And I did put a little date when we did it, 9/18, right there. But otherwise, everything looks pretty nice. You know, all the body mounts look really good on this car. You know, it's actually a pretty impressive car, especially for the age. You know, trunk drop-offs look great. You know, this is usually signs of a lot of rust issues, especially in convertibles. You can see the bottom of the quarter looks good there. But, you know, just a really, really nice driver. You know, you could do a little detail work underneath here, but overall, really clean for a car of this vintage. So I hope that helps. We will show you some more stuff. If you got any more questions, just give me a shout. You can email me and make comments on the auction. Be glad to help. Thank you.